West Side, welcome to this episode of WTV. I'm Katie.
And I'm Hannah. This week we learned about a student who uses his unique talent to help out struggling teens, as well as a coaching bond on and off the field.
Then we'll catch up with Connor and Elias to fill us in on what we've missed this week.
Following this summer's events in Ferguson, Missouri, WTV's Leah Thomas examines a topic that most high schools face.
Well, you walk through the halls, you hear a lot of things, and you see a lot of things. Most of them are derogatory terms towards other students, and you think, what's the point? Why do you say that?
Sometimes you see it in the halls, you know, when during passing periods when people just stand in certain corners and people think, oh, don't stand over there because that's the black corner because black people will push you around or bully you. So I guess there's segregation in corners. There's black people, white people, Mexicans.
I don't know, there's just every African American or whatever stands by themselves and all the other kids stand on the other side. And I see that that's awfully segregated and that could change.
I don't think there's a lot of racism in school, but just name calling, I see that often.
I feel like a lot of these racist concepts and these racist slurs are happening outside of school, and that's where this is learned. So, and media, I think we still, if you read things on Twitter, Instagram, I think, so a lot of it is happening outside of school. I feel like we do a pretty good job in school of addressing how racism has clearly affected our history in a negative way.
Mostly to me, I just see racism through jokes. People play around and say, oh, you're black, you should know, or you should do this, or you should be able to jump high and stuff like that.
It's very ignorant and negative. And I'm not saying it just because I'm black. Any other type of racism that goes around, that's not cool at all.
They just need to credit it for what it is and recognize it and make it known to people that it's still a problem, because a lot of times they like to brush it off or act like it's not as big a deal as it really is. Actually, I've only had one teacher or two actually that have really helped me with it, and I've dealt with it a lot.
Probably something that we need to fix, because staff aren't always there, so it's more of an us problem than a staff problem.
I think, yes, it would be great if staff would step in. Sometimes though, unfortunately you can't tell if kids are joking with each other or being serious, and so I think it all starts with building relationships with kids, which I feel like we do, having, that's why we feel it's important to go to homeroom and really get to know that homeroom teacher, and then you have that person for 4 years, and then you have a counselor for 4 years that you get to know very well, and your teachers, and if we build relationships, I think we get to know more kids in the school, and we can more easily stand up to it and feel like we can have those meaningful conversations with kids.
I find it really sad that because West Side has so many different cultures in it, that instead of being ethnically inclusive, people tend to lash out when they're upset, they're angry, they don't feel good, they tend to make others feel bad. And the quickest way to do that, make a racist comment to someone else and make them feel even worse, which is really sad.
I feel some racism, it does create stereotypes, white girls or girls with blonde hair are dumb, or some black people, they're violent or ghetto. I think we could just clear that whole prejudice thing and just have an open mind.
If people witness racism, they should report to their deans or the principal. They should not keep it to themselves.
If somebody knock you down, just get right back up and dust yourself off.
I think we could, more discipline it more often, talk about it more at the beginning of the year or in guidance classes.
I just feel like they really need to address it seriously. They don't take it very seriously when it happens. They just kind of oh yeah, you shouldn't say that. Okay, they know they shouldn't say it. Punish them so it won't happen again.
I really think the students and staff both need to take that stand a little bit. So when you do hear words that are harmful or hurtful, regardless of the situation, I think it's everybody's responsibility to address that and say, we don't use those words here. That's not the image we want to portray. So I think it's really everybody. It's difficult to catch every student that says something bad or makes a poor judgment and give consequences. I think it's bigger than giving consequences a lot of times.
I believe the students and the faculty should go out of their way to watch out for racism and to immediately put a stop to it with some positivity.
Thanks, Leah. Coming up, we discover how one student's passion for dance has inspired him to help others.
In the morning, I usually don't walk to school. I usually dance my way to school. This is basically my time for me to practice. I am Orlando Crawford, and I'm a dancer. I do a lot of tutting, waving, popping, animation, just a lot of different styles. To be able to get excited and get happy. It's a good way to get energetic and to be ready for the school day. In homeroom, they usually ask me, oh, hey, Lando, can you come dance for us? I'm just like, yeah, I guess I can do it for you. So I would get up, set up my speakers, plug them into my phone, and just start dancing. It's the usual thing that we used to do. My first year, I thought I was really good. If I look back at my videos now, I'm like, wow, I was really going nowhere with it. But everybody just basically was just telling me, keep going, you're doing great. I'm actually sponsored by 3 companies, Infinite 8, YAR, and Above Zero. I usually teach classes on Thursdays at the Boys and Girls Club by Westbrook. I usually teach from 6 to 7. Have them all in a big giant circle, and then they just do a freestyle for a while. That's basically how we end the class. I just teach them the basics of routines and how to be in coordination with each other and to be able to work together as a team. In my dance classes, I usually hear a lot of, I can't do it or I won't be as good as you. But usually like what I tell them is that you have to just work hard. You have to put your whole heart into a passion or a hobby. I treat everybody like who I dance with as family because it's a connection that you have to have when you dance together. It was a good way to get away from family issues and friend problems and stuff like that. It was just a good way to help myself at first, but now I see it as a good way to help other people.
To my hot bits.
I want people to know me for who I am as a person instead of just being that dancer. I don't want to be just that dancer, I want to be Orlando.
Washing windows, Air Force One, and school pride is all a part of a relationship between 2 coaches.
So we're beyond tonight?
No, actually.
What time do you... These guys interceptions for the year?
No.
Oh.
I met him the first day of practice 8 years ago. And they didn't really tell me anything. They said, hey, we got another coach. His name's Al.
That's what Bo Pelini does, right?
Met him, and when you meet him right away, you know, you have your questions like, how's this going to work? You know, what's he actually do? And then he comes up to you and tells you his role on the team and that he's the A coach, and he makes fun of you for being a B coach and says stuff like, you know, when you're an A coach, you'll know all about that, but you're not.
She was a backup, so.
Who was going to play it?
But I remember that first year with Alex, my job on the sideline was to kind of keep him occupied because he likes to ask questions, if you didn't notice.
Now I'm wondering about Miller West next week because of that goalpost.
Oh, they'll get that fixed.
No, Tim Cox can fix it.
He's got a lot of good questions, but he always seems to have them right when you're trying to call a play. And so my job was to make sure that if Al had any questions, I answered those questions while somebody else called.
So you're gonna live.
And then from there, he just kind of started hanging out with me, and he was always by me on the sidelines. And since then, he's always been with me on the sideline. And when I first took over as head coach of the freshmen, I'd run out on the field to yell at officials, and he'd be the guy pulling me back off the field.
I don't know.
We're winning the game, yeah, usually when we're winning, if we have the ball at the end of the game, we have a kneel down play to kind of run the clock out. And so it's called Air Force One, and that's Al's play. He gets to call that at the end of every game when we're winning.
Air Force One.
What's Air Force One?
It's special form.
When do we do it?
When the clock is hit to 0.
And we're winning, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's our winning play. Which is why I think he really hates losing, because that's the one play he gets to call. And so he will, whenever we say, Al, let's call your play, he just runs out about 5 yards onto the field and just screams out Air Force One, and we don't actually have to call it because the kids all know it, they love it, they get excited, and they take the knee.
Drop to the side this way. Don't run into the running back. I think we're gonna have.
We won't have these.
Al has more tradition and more school spirit and more school pride than most guys that graduate from the school and that have played in the program.
I'll be working at the zoo and I can't leave early, Kelly.
That's all
Kelly got mad at me the last time. I tried.
You'll be there in spirit, Al.
I tried.
But he just gets out, and when he can, he goes to events at the school because he cares about it. You know, it's his school. He takes pride in it. He takes ownership of it.
I just like coming back every day.
Yeah. What do you like about coaching?
It's fun. She gave me 2 movie posters of the Rocky Mountain Express. That was an award because I worked hard.
That's one thing that you really notice on the sideline. Like last year, we had a tough year. We had a real tough year as a team. We struggled.
Oh, careful!
But Al was the one that kind of took it the hardest because he's been through this tradition of we win. At Westside, we win games. And we have a proud tradition of success and being good at the sports we play. And when we weren't, he took it personally. It was something serious that you know, he wanted the team to do better because he wanted Westside to do better. And so if you're thinking about what he means to the program, I know for a lot of coaches he's just a guy that's there and helping out, but when you take time and you're with him on the sidelines and you see his passion, you see his commitment, you realize that he does 2 things. He helps you realize why it matters, and he helps you realize that it's still a game. And if you can keep those 2 things in perspective, then you've understood high school sports.
I think we can win every game. I think.
What piece of advice would Bill Self give us right now?
Let's win.
Let's win. All right. Special Forces on 3! 1, 2, 3, Special Forces!
Do not kick off number 1 or number 2 return. Head to the sideline. Hustle up.
Now we head over to Connor and Elias to find out what we missed this week.
To a shaken but not stirred edition of 5 Things You Missed Last Week. I'm Connor.
And I'm Elias, and we're here to bring you the best weekly news program that Westside has to offer.
The countdown is ready. Let's get started.
The Ferguson situation has yet another milestone to break through.
Michael Brown's autopsy results were finally released this week.
The most prevalent wound on the body was a gunshot to the victim's hand.
This may provide evidence backing Officer Darren Wilson's story that Brown reached for his sidearm.
Although this doesn't prove anything 100%, we will keep you updated as the story unfolds.
And now, for something that never has happened ever before. Good news about Ebola.
After 3 months, Nigeria is officially clear of the disease.
This is a great step in vanquishing Ebola, as well as it permits you to stop tweeting like an idiot about it. Seriously, it's been filled with the same stupid rant about Ebola for the past 3 months.
I don't have a Twitter.
You're a loser.
That wasn't very nice.
Still a loser.
Okay. And the South rises again to our show.
For being stupid! Long live Dixie!
A man in Albany, Georgia texted his probation officer the question of all questions.
You got some weed?
Oh.
Come on, Georgia.
Oh, South, you're making us all look bad.
The best part about it is, Connor, tell him.
The contact for his probation officer was Proby.
Come on, you're better.
Come on, man. You're making us all look bad, Dixie. And finally, all of my dreams come true. A working hoverboard. Back to the future.
Cool it. It only goes 3/4 of an inch off the ground.
It's still pretty rad.
It is pretty cool. Click on the link down below.
And now, to get your Halloween senses tingling,
IKEA released an ad as a play off The Shining.
And, well, warning, or encouraging if that's your thing, the ad features a grown man dressed as a 5-year-old girl. Ooh. Pretty scary, but that's all we have for you this week for 5 Things. Tune in next week for a special Halloween edition episode.
Don't forget to vote on the weekly Wired poll for what Connor and I should wear for the Halloween special.
Vote for him, the sexy rabbit. I like that one.
Great, I can pull it off.
For WTV, I've been Connor.
And I've been Elias.
That's all we have for this episode.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, Warriors.
For WTV, this has been Hannah
and Katie.